Did Mercedes see this coming? Apparently they did. As it turns out, the contract they drew up with Lewis Hamilton last season had contingencies in place should an unexpected turn of allegiance happen. What does Toto Wolff have up his sleeve against his former partner? Let's find out in today's video. Rumors had circulated that Lewis Hamilton's transition to Ferrari might involve him bringing along some of the Mercedes staff, but that's not the case. Hamilton, who's been a key figure at Mercedes for more than 10 years, naturally has developed close ties with the team in Brackley. But any hopes of his Mercedes colleagues joining him at Maranello are dashed by a no-poaching clause in Hamilton's contract, which prohibits such moves. Once Lewis Hamilton inked what's been rumored as a 2-year contract with Ferrari, the chatter about which Mercedes staff might join him kicked off almost immediately. His trusted race engineer, Peter Bono Bonington, was a prime subject of speculation. It's worth noting that a no-poaching clause in Hamilton's agreement with Ferrari prohibits him from directly reaching out to his soon-to-be former colleagues at Mercedes. Initially reported by Motorsport Italia, Mercedes later confirmed the accuracy of the clause's existence. While such clauses are typically associated with management roles, they have been utilized in previous instances. For example, Sebastian Vettel reportedly had a similar arrangement in his final Red Bull contract. Consequently, when he made the switch to Ferrari in 2015, he was unable to bring his race engineer, Guillaume Rocky Roquelin, along with him. While the disclosure of this agreement implies that other Mercedes staff won't be joining Hamilton in Maranello, it's not a definitive roadblock for individuals like Bono and another mentioned name, Andrew Shovlin. They could potentially make the switch if Mercedes approves, albeit without Hamilton having any direct say in the matter. The day after Hamilton's move was officially announced, team principal Toto Wolff addressed the possibility of Bono's departure in response to media inquiries. He stated that he would engage in discussions with the engineer in the upcoming months. I think this is a discussion which everyone needs to have in the months to come, and as much as I've spoken with Bono already, when I told him about Hamilton's move, he said, "Is it April the 1st? That's something which we will discuss in the future." Lewis Hamilton's decision to switch to Ferrari marks the conclusion of the most triumphant driver-team partnership in Formula One history. But what motivated him to make such a move? Well, Hamilton has a history of bold choices, demonstrated by his daring move from the established McLaren team to the relatively untested Mercedes outfit back in 2012. That decision, once considered risky, has now solidified its place in Formula One lore as one of the most successful team switches ever. Despite the unparalleled success of claiming 6 titles in the past decade since joining Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton's partnership with the team has even outshone the legendary achievements of Michael Schumacher and Ferrari. But with the once speculative rumors now confirmed, Hamilton is opting to end that dream partnership. The question arises, why? Hamilton has found himself without a Formula One victory since the latter part of the challenging 2021 season. Mercedes has struggled to adapt to the new ground effect regulations, resulting in a downturn in performance. Meanwhile, George Russell managed to clinch his inaugural win in the 2 seasons since. Mercedes has been left watching from the sidelines as Red Bull and occasionally Ferrari have dominated the podium, having quickly mastered the new regulations. It's a natural progression in Formula One that teams can't maintain their dominance indefinitely. For any driver, the pressing concern is how swiftly the team can respond to reverse the situation. While Mercedes demonstrated remarkable resilience in the face of staff departures and intellectual property losses during stable regulations, that resilience has been tested in the new regulatory cycle. While the zero-pod concept wasn't solely responsible for their performance woes, its adoption proved to be a misstep. Former technical director Mike Elliott took responsibility for this decision. In an effort to correct course, Mercedes has turned to the experienced James Allison, known for his reliability, to steer the ship back on track. Indeed, the landscape has shifted in the past 5 years. Once, Mercedes boasted an unrivaled power unit and a chassis that was considered equal, if not superior, to the competition. But their power unit, while competitive, was overshadowed by Honda's advancements prior to the current engine freeze. Additionally, their chassis and aerodynamic designs have failed to meet the lofty standards they had set in the past. Mercedes has been transparent about their intention to embark on a different car concept for the 2024 season. Interestingly, this direction is not solely dictated by regulations, but also by practical considerations. Consequently, the team will find themselves committed to this new approach for the 2025 season, which marks the final year under the current regulations. Ferrari, rather than Mercedes, emerged as the frontrunner at the outset of the current regulations cycle, arguably even surpassing Red Bull's initial performance. But Ferrari's momentum was halted by mid-season rule adjustments, which impacted their speed. This sequence of events likely hasn't escaped Lewis Hamilton's notice. If Lewis Hamilton is already exploring options to depart from Mercedes after only a few weeks of engaging in factory visits and simulation sessions, despite the positive feedback surrounding their 2024 car, it suggests that he may not view the team as a serious contender for the championship. Ultimately, Lewis Hamilton finds himself much closer to the twilight of his career than its dawn, having recently celebrated his 39th birthday. By 2026, he will have reached the age of 41. While Fernando Alonso has demonstrated that age doesn't necessarily hinder performance in Formula One anymore, the historical trend doesn't favor Hamilton in this regard. Only 3 drivers have clinched the F1 World Championship after reaching the age of 40, with the most recent being Jack Brabham in 1966. Given the evolution of the sport since then, Lewis Hamilton faces formidable challenges, particularly with younger talents like Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Oscar Piastri dominating the scene. As each year passes, Hamilton's opportunities to secure another championship diminish in the face of stiff competition from the next generation of drivers. Hamilton's decision might be a calculated gamble, banking on the prospect that Mercedes won't possess the speed to challenge Red Bull in the upcoming seasons. In this scenario, he could be eyeing 2026 as the opportune moment. His bet could hinge on identifying which team he believes will master the interpretation of the new regulations, particularly in terms of chassis and power unit development. Indeed, Lewis Hamilton has demonstrated his willingness to take calculated risks when it comes to shaping his future in Formula One. His pivotal move to Mercedes at the close of the 2012 season was widely viewed as a bold gamble, especially considering the underwhelming performance of the W03 car at that time, which mirrors the current situation at Ferrari. It's worth noting that Lewis Hamilton's decision to leave the established and secure environment of McLaren for the uncharted territory of Mercedes occurred just a year before the power unit regulations overhaul in 2014. Despite facing a transitional year with Mercedes in 2013, Hamilton made a bold move that ultimately paid off handsomely. Given his track record of strategic career moves, it wouldn't be surprising if Hamilton were to employ a similar tactic, perhaps timing a switch to a resurgent Ferrari ahead of the 2026 season. Joining Ferrari would reunite Lewis Hamilton with Fred Vasseur, a team principal with whom Hamilton has shared tremendous success in the past. Prior to his Formula One endeavors, Vasseur served as the founder and team principal of RT Grand Prix, a highly regarded team in the junior racing categories. Lewis Hamilton's journey to the top began with McLaren's support, and he drove for Fred Vasseur's team in the Formula 3 Euro Series in 2005. Hamilton's exceptional performance, clinching 15 wins and the championship title, showcased his talent. Moving up to ART's GP2 team in 2006, Hamilton continued his winning streak, securing the GP2 championship with 5 victories. His outstanding performance caught the attention of Ron Dennis, who subsequently placed him alongside Fernando Alonso at McLaren. Despite their separate paths in Formula One, Hamilton and Vasseur maintain a close relationship, with Vasseur joking about the frequency of inquiries regarding the possibility of signing Hamilton based on their ongoing conversations. Despite Fred Vasseur's affable demeanor and sense of humor, he possesses a formidable and assertive leadership style, comparable to established figures like Christian Horner and Toto Wolff. While Ferrari hasn't consistently led the pack during Vasseur's brief tenure, his intensity and competitive spirit have been evident, notably showcased by his impassioned response during the press conference in Las Vegas at the conclusion of the 2023 season. With Ferrari's boss John Elkann urging Fred Vasseur to secure Lewis Hamilton's signature, Vasseur's informal conversations with his former driver could serve as a conduit for imparting valuable insights about Ferrari's trajectory over the upcoming seasons. This includes candid discussions about the team's prospects for success. Vasseur's successful recruitment of Hamilton underscores his transformation into a formidable presence on the Formula One grid, a perception that may not have been as prominent until now. Irrespective of their performance in any given season, Ferrari maintains a unique allure for drivers. As the only team to have participated in every Formula One season since its inception, Ferrari's legacy and prestige are unparalleled. Throughout the history of the sport, nearly all of the greatest drivers have passed through the doors of the Scuderia, further solidifying its iconic status in Formula One. Despite Lewis Hamilton's remarkable achievements, including surpassing many of Ayrton Senna's records, there's a notable absence of both Hamilton and his idol Senna at the very pinnacle of the Formula One record books. Hamilton's reverence for the Brazilian driver remains steadfast, underscoring the enduring impact that Senna has had on Hamilton's career and his ongoing admiration for one of Formula One's greatest legends. With Ayrton Senna tragically losing his life in a fatal accident at Imola in 1994, aged just 34, the opportunity for the three-time world champion to join Ferrari never materialized, despite speculation that it could have occurred in the mid-1990s. Ferrari's rich history, prestige, and allure continue to captivate drivers, sometimes leading them to prioritize sentiment over pragmatism, to the potential detriment of their careers. While it's not implied that this is the case for Lewis Hamilton, the prospect of a union between the Hamilton and Ferrari brands is undeniably enticing. Such a partnership would not only be one of the most thrilling driver-team pairings in the sport's history, but also potentially the most lucrative for both parties involved. Did Lewis Hamilton make the right decision to ditch the silver for scarlet? You tell me in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.